Good afternoon, everyone. I'm thrilled that you've joined us today for our annual celebration of innovation and entrepreneurship at UNC Charlotte and within our university community. On behalf of the university, research and economic development, Venture Prize, and our partner sponsors, I'd like to welcome you to the 20th edition of the Charlotte Venture Challenge. I'm Rick Tankersley, the Vice Chancellor for Research and Economic Development. I serve as the Chief Research Officer for the university and have the great fortune of leading a team of dedicated and talented staff committed to advancing innovation and discovery and helping our faculty and students, researchers, solve some of the world's most complex problems. As North Carolina's urban research university, we're proud to support the rapidly growing innovation economy in Charlotte by promoting research designed to identify and solve problems, mobilize resources, and improve the overall quality of our lives. This commitment has been demonstrated more than ever over the past year as the university's research and innovation engine went to work to solve problems created by the COVID-19 pandemic. Last spring, we quickly transitioned to remote operations, worked with researchers and staff to safely reopen laboratories and facilities, redeployed equipment and resources to help students and faculty return to campus, and established testing facilities and programs to keep the campus safe. Whether it was 3D printing of face masks for frontline workers, establishing our own COVID-19 testing facility and contact tracing team, simulating the transport of viral particles on public transportation systems and buses, establishing an early warning system based on the presence of COVID-19 in wastewater, or sequencing clinical samples to help monitor the presence of COVID-19 variants in the region, our faculty and students were fully mobilized to help combat the pandemic. Throughout this time, UNC Charlotte faculty conducted record levels of research and found novel ways to collaborate and innovate. Their creativity and perseverance has led to extraordinary growth in our research enterprise and contributed to the advancement of many of the region's economic sectors. Through strategic hiring of top faculty, developing a climate of grant seeking and entrepreneurial thinking, and building on our strengths, we've doubled our research expenditures in the past 5 years and received over $52 million in government, corporate, and private research awards during fiscal year 2020. UNC Charlotte's tradition of innovation and discovery continues to produce a range of breakthroughs and new technologies. Over the past few years, our faculty and student inventors have received over 85 new patents, ranging from cancer diagnostics to solar panels, placing us among the top institutions in the country for innovation, productivity, and technology commercialization. Today, you'll be fortunate to hear from and be able to connect with 4 of our campus organizations that support economic development, industry and business partnerships, commercialization, entrepreneurship, and innovation. They include the Small Business Technology Development Center, the Office of Research Commercialization and Development, the Office of Industry and Government Partnerships, as well as Venture Prize, your host for today's challenge at our Campus Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center. If you're an entrepreneur or a business seeking to connect with university faculty, students, or get access to our facilities and resources, you'll want to know more about these organizations and have an opportunity to meet and connect with the staff that lead these units. Today, we showcase the students, faculty, and community innovators and entrepreneurs that have spent the last year, and in many cases much longer, trying to solve important and hard problems that face our society. On behalf of UNC Charlotte, we're excited to recognize their contributions to research and innovation. I'm anxious to hear their pitches today and to learn more about how the university can continue to help support them in launching their ventures. Before I hand things off to Laura, I would like to close by recognizing our sponsors for today's event. They include the National Science Foundation I-Corps program, the NC Idea Foundation, the North Carolina Biotechnology Center, and others for supporting this event and the work of our students, faculty, and community innovators. Now I'd like to turn things over to Laura Smale, who's going to showcase the stars of this afternoon's show, our student innovators and change makers. Laura?
Thank you, Rick. We're so excited to highlight today's innovators on University and the Charlotte region. First, my name is Laura Smales, and I am the Assistant Director at Ventureprise. I did want to go ahead and also thank the presenting sponsors today, which is UNC Charlotte's Research and Economic Development and the North Carolina Biotechnology Center. And of course, our program sponsors, which is the National Science Foundation's I-Corps program and the NC Idea Foundation. I did want to give a quick overview at today's panels. We're going to first kick it off with the UNC Charlotte Student Entrepreneur Showcase. This is going to highlight the 6 teams that won the 49er Impact Challenge. Next, we're going to go to Tech Transfer, and Brad's going to walk us through how you could partner with the university and also highlight some innovative licensing opportunities with the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Next, we're going to meet some great university innovators from the College of Arts and Architecture. All of these teams have completed successfully the National I-Corps program and are continuing their commercialization journey. We're going to wrap up the panel portion today with the Ventureprise Launch Summer Accelerator Showcase. We'll then have closing remarks by Director Devin Collins, and then we're going to have a panel Q&A session. And I will tell you at the end of these panels on how to enter each of these rooms to actually meet the panelists. So next, let's go ahead and go with the UNC Charlotte Student Entrepreneur Showcase. For our student competition, we took a tiered approach this year, and we had a tremendous turnout. The 49er Impact competition had 2 paths. We had 19 teams participate, and we named 6 awardees. The students were first able to choose their path, pivot your idea for those that already had a business idea, and chance for change for those students that wanted to get involved in social change, whether it be on campus, in the community, nationally, or even internationally. We kicked off each of these paths with a workshop. This included a panel discussion and breakout rooms. It included a panelist working with 1 to 2 teams, one-on-one with their ideas. Then we wrapped up the workshop with some customer discovery and pitching lessons. After these workshops, the students had a week to turn in their 3-minute pitch. All 19 teams, many who were talking about their idea for the very first time, did an amazing job. They were scored on their problem, solution, identifying their customer, and their overall idea. We then held a finalist event where all 19 teams received feedback from their panel of judges. At that event, we also named Josh Harper, founder of Greenway Student Opportunities, as the J. Chris Murphy Award recipient. We also named 10 finalists, and these were the top 5 scores from each category. These finalists then had 10 days to update their pitch, and we even gave them an extra minute. To wind up the competition, the judges took a final look and decided on 3 teams from each category. Each of these teams were awarded $1,500 and a spot in the 49er Foundry Summer Mentorship Program. This is a virtual summer program to create MVPs, conduct more customer discoveries, and even in some cases, generating revenue. I do want to take a quick moment to really thank our judges and mentors. These panels of experts really donated a lot of time to give one-on-one feedback, support, and just general overall ideas to our students. So thank you so much for all those that participated. And a great thing about these panels is everybody had UNC Charlotte and Ventureprise ties. So we're really thankful to all of you. So thank you again. And now let's look at the 6 teams that were awarded the top prize. These 6 teams, you're getting ready to hear their 4-minute pitches that they submitted. And don't forget, at the end of today's program, you'll be able to talk one-on-one with them in our Q&A rooms. We're now going to get it started with DePaul Shaw with Groceries for Restaurants.
Hi guys. So basically for the 49er Impact pitch, I'm doing groceries for restaurants. So the current system is that small-scale restaurants without their own suppliers physically have to go out to get groceries. This is usually on a weekly basis, and it takes around 5 to 6 man-hours per week. And this is also by visiting different grocery stores. So the issues and drawbacks with this valuable time is lost for the owners, and they lose around 5 to 6 hours a week, which causes a huge decrease in efficiency. And the current system forces them to go out to multiple grocery stores if they want better pricing on certain products. This leads to repetitive decision making, and which causes them to lose a lot of time and resources. Right now, there is no available platform out there that caters towards grocery delivering specifically towards small scale restaurants. So this platform would be designed in a way to optimize, automate, and cater to their needs specifically. And according to market research, majority of the small scale restaurants have their own vendors, just 70%. All their products are procured from one single vendor. They're unable to get cheaper prices on certain products that may be available from different vendors. So the shopping process is not modular at all. Competitors such as Instacart, they're not geared towards restaurant. There's no bulk pricing, and they're not very business to business oriented. They're more business to consumer. So this makes it very difficult to compare prices of different vendors on certain products, especially in real time. So this goes back to lack of overall flexibility. So the pricing that is on there does not reflect dynamic nature of supply and demand on a weekly basis for your prices. So an implementation for that would be you create an application for ordering weekly groceries, and you would get personalized order system, and it stores all your orders for future reference. It shows you real-time availability of your delivery time slot. So you have the ability to choose the date, time, and everything. And you get recommendations from your previous orders to your future ones. So this gives you the same products, but it saves you time and money for the best prices. So to show that, there is an outline of a website. So here you would basically start your order. You would fill out the name, email, phone, address, and you would select a delivery date. After that, you go through different products, you select them, and you wouldn't want to see the vendors because it compares all the pricing to give you the cheapest one. And you confirm your order with the amount of quantity and everything, make sure everything is correct, and you select your delivery time. So with that, the advantages that go to this are that it saves you time and it's very efficient. It saves a lot of time, which is very efficient for the owners. It's more digitalized, more modular, more localized, better prices for the same exact products, and it increases productivity, which goes to better workflow process. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Josh Harper. I'm a junior finance student at UNC Charlotte and the founder of Greenway Student Opportunities. Before I tell you about my organization, I'd first like to tell you about a major problem affecting all college students today, including myself, something I like to call the experience paradox. The experience paradox is basically the contradictory situation in which a student needs experience to get a job, but also needs a job in order to gain experience. As you can see here, 61% of jobs classified as entry-level require at least 3 years of work-related experience. But how does a student gain that experience if the job needed to obtain it also requires experience? Well, the current solutions in the market, such as Hire a Niner or Parker Dewey, lack in terms of project-specific work, professional development, and work collaboration on the student end, and cost effectiveness and overall efficiency on the business end. So what's a better solution to this problem facing our generation? The answer is Greenway's Student Opportunities. For the past 2.5 years, Greenway has worked with a multitude of pilot clients within the community on a variety of different projects, giving more than 50 students the knowledge, skills, and opportunities needed to excel in their given career field. Greenway is a platform to help empower students to gain relevant experience by giving them access to micro-internships and project-specific work in a collaborative environment, while also providing valuable deliverables to businesses within their community. For example, a student would apply for a specific project such as customer acquisition through our platform. They would then be assigned a team and work on the project over a specified amount of time. At the end of the project timeline, they would present their final deliverable to the client. Greenway would then receive payment from the client upon project completion. Greenway has already worked with a multitude of students on several different projects, ranging from customer acquisition for ESPN Charlotte to quantifying the impact of a specific social disparity for a company called Informative Technologies. As seen here by our client and student testimonials, we have already received a tremendous amount of positive feedback, which further emphasizes the value that Greenway provides. Our clients are recognizing our unique value, and our students are recognizing our unique opportunities. Greenway is mutually beneficial to both our users, made up of students, and our clients, made up of businesses. Along with the collaborative environment and networking opportunities, the main benefit for students is going to be that work-related experience that is crucial for obtaining that career-level job. The main benefit for our businesses, on the other hand, besides overall risk mitigation and talent recruitment, is going to be that cost effectiveness. This is because of our knowledgeable project teams providing more value than a single worker, and because of our project leads saving a client costs in terms of project management. As you can see here, our total addressable market, serviceable available market, and serviceable obtainable market are all split between our users and clients, which effectively doubles Greenway's potential for manageable growth in the future. Once Greenway is able to obtain a base level of funding and complete our logistics planning process, we will begin constructing our online platform to help better optimize our project selection process. Over the next 2 to 3 years, we aim to obtain a substantial amount of both users and clients in the UNCC area before expanding to a second university to continue our mission of providing solutions to this experience paradox. Overall, Greenway is an evolutionary solution to an issue that college students are all too familiar with. Through our passionate leadership and purpose-driven values, we are helping to drive positive change within our community. Opportunity is knocking. Will you answer?
Hi, my name is John Gully, and I'm here to present Resume Plus for the UNC Charlotte Venture Prize Pitch Competition. A quick background for both of us founders. My name is John Gully. I'm a senior at UNC Charlotte. I have previous startup experience working with the Y Combinator company Adla, which focuses on e-commerce clothing sales for university students.
Hi, my name is Joey Kermis. I'm a graduate of Clemson University. I have a background working in capital markets at PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Our goal with Resume Plus is to change the way that resumes are created and analyzed. By creating a software that allows applicants to better demonstrate each aspect of their career, we hope to update the current resume framework to one that will include much greater depth, as well as incorporate the use of multimedia and data. Biggest issue with the resume today is that it does not offer the full picture. A single page of information is not adequate enough to tell if a candidate is fit for the job or not. Because of this, employers have to spend a good amount of time and money searching through these resumes or hiring expensive recruiters to do it for them. Because the resume does not display the initial compatibility factor, several follow-up interviews are required, which also take up a lot of time. What we're seeing with the current system is a disconnect on both ends of the equation. Candidates are limited in the amount of information they can use to set themselves apart, and recruiters are limited in the amount of information they can use to make an educated decision. As business practices evolved, the resume has remained largely static and is slowly becoming outdated. Our solution is to develop a software that preserves some essential components of the resume format, such as the front page, while removing the limitations that prevent users from exercising full freedom of creativity, by allowing them to do such things as create subpages that complement and expand upon major resume lines. Here are a couple of cool functionalities that Resume Plus would give people. If you're a rock climber, lines on a resume wouldn't properly display your talent, but if you linked those lines to a video showing your climbing ability, it certainly would. If you work in sales and wanted to set yourself aside from other salespeople, you can post spreadsheets of the sales you've completed. If you're a programmer and you wanted to show what makes your applications work and how you code, you can post your source code. In terms of market potential for Resume Plus, we definitely say that opportunities are there. In 2021, the recruiting and hiring industry was worth a massive $136 billion, and this was a recovery year coming off COVID-19. Recruiting is quickly becoming less in person due to the international nature of business and the realities of COVID-19. We no longer sit down in front of the people as much as we did. What we need now is an alternative that displays this information online in a way that's easy to read and transcribe. We're designing Resume Plus to fit that need.
The best potential towards profit is with partnerships and contracts with businesses as opposed to charging users. Resume Plus will be offered as freeware to the average user with premium packages for extra features. But our main focus will be providing a paid service that saves businesses time and money on recruiting by giving them more power to recruit directly. We will begin by targeting young professionals in the Charlotte region. We will also target companies in the Charlotte region, specifically small to medium-sized tech companies, whom we feel will be early adopters.
We first started developing the idea at the beginning of the year. With support and consulting from our friends at their own companies, we felt confident enough to begin the project in earnest. By March, we had the wonderful opportunity to join Venture Prize and also take part in the 49er Impact Challenge. We also selected Bubble as the application that we would use to develop our minimum viable product. Going forward, we are focusing heavily on the development of this MVP, which we will be getting online by late April. Once the site is up, we hope to take applications from our friends and fellow UNC Charlotte students to be able to build resumes with Plus functionality and then host them on our site.
Thank you for the time and consideration. I've attached my email below if you'd like to reach out to me. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my pitch for my plastic pollution solution. So this began about 5 years ago when I was out on a run and I ended up rolling my ankle on a piece of plastic that someone had thrown onto the street. And this was a bit of an eye-opener for me. It really showed me that if nothing is done and nobody tries to fix it, it's just going to keep getting worse. And I know I won't be the only one that is walking all over their plastic. It's actually a huge problem here in Charlotte. And that's because many of the items that we want to recycle, they're not actually recyclable by the city of Charlotte. So that means is if you put any of these items into your recycling bin, all that happens is it's later sorted out and then sent directly to a landfill. And this is a huge waste of both money and material. And that's because if you were to create an item out of recycled plastic, it's going to be 30% cheaper than if you had to produce it with a brand new virgin plastic. And that money saving comes from the manufacturing process. So if you were to create that product out of recycled plastic, it's going to require 2/3 of the amount of energy that it would rather take to make it out of a virgin plastic. And knowing this, it's sad to see that many companies really, they don't choose this alternative. And as a result, plastic around us is growing exponentially. And each year there's more and more plastic in our communities. And this is a problem that I really want to tackle. And to do that, I want to create a two-sided recycling platform that essentially takes the plastic that is generated in our community to create products that could be useful for our community. And right now, there's a huge interest in sustainability throughout Charlotte. It is from various student organizations and community members who, they're all saying the same thing. They want to recycle, but they don't know how, or they don't have a way to do it. And I'm really looking to bridge this gap. I want to become a outlet for recycling here in this community. And I want to do that by partnering with various community collection points and the UNC Charlotte Recycling Center to collect the plastic, and then later partner with UNCC Art and Architecture and the Charlotte Garden Club, and as well as the Hope Fives Creative Housing to create useful items that could be beneficial to our community. And just to show you exactly how effective we can be, this is 1.5 pounds of plastic that I collected from campus that was going to end up in a landfill because these are food containers, which Charlotte does not recycle. And after obtaining this plastic, I shredded the plastic and then later melted it into a block, just to show you not only can we condense the amount of plastic that we use, but we can also make it useful. And as you can see here, you can get extremely creative with the colors, and you can have a lot of fun making some really artistic and beautiful products. And just to show you some examples, these are some products that I have made in the past, and it's just to show you that this material, it doesn't have to be a waste. We can create environmentally friendly products if we just have a way to do it. And the big question is, how much would that cost? And what could I possibly save? So currently UNC Charlotte spends upwards of $17,000 a year just to move their plastic from campus onto a recycling plant. And if I was to divert just one haul of plastic a month for an entire year, I could save Charlotte up to $1,700 in just moving their plastic. And then in addition to that, I could create products that could be sold to also increase revenue. And there's actually a growing market. In 2016, the projected market was $50 billion by 2022. And by 2019, we had already met and exceeded that goal. And as the market grows, I want to continue to also grow my platform. And I want to do that by solving the affordable housing crisis here in Charlotte by creating building materials that are cheaper, they last longer, and allow for houses to be built in less than a day. So that's my pitch. Thank you for listening and have a good day.
Hey fellow Niners,
I'm Allison File.
I'm Alok Bandekar, and we are Soul Cooking.
There are countless incredible organizations working on assistance for the homeless.
Have you ever wondered what would provide the most help?
If you find yourself answering yes, then we are in the same place as you.
Serving as a clinician at a low-cost clinic in Charlotte, I've seen many homeless individuals come in due to poor respiratory health and a lack of resources and services.
As an engineering student concentrating around sustainable energy, I've witnessed the harmful environmental impacts associated with open source fires and burning plastics in the local homeless population.
We decided to combine our years of experience to help find a solution to improve the health and lives of Tent City and other homeless populations around the broader Charlotte area. And Soul Cooking was born.
Soul Cooking strives to improve respiratory health outcomes and reduce the carbon footprint of homeless populations through the production of solar cookers.
This not only solves the respiratory health issues faced by homeless populations, but also solves the problem other organizations have in empowering the homeless to help themselves, expanding options for a more balanced diet.
Thousands of individuals around the Charlotte community lack access to consistent cooking sources, oftentimes relying on burning plastic and rubber, which can lead to higher rates of respiratory illness and death. This also releases a large amount of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, contributing to many of our current air quality and climate issues. COVID-19 has only exacerbated these issues, increasing the vulnerabilities associated with respiratory health and causing more than 13,000 families to be evicted from their homes in 2020 alone.
Soul Cooking is needed now more than ever, and here's why. Number 1, it can improve health outcomes by reducing smoke and soot inhalations through the utilization of cleaner energy cooking methods.
Number 2, studies have shown that increased independence in health can directly lead to reinvestment into the community. This in turn can help promote reintroduction of homeless populations back into the economy.
Number 3, it can reduce the environmental impact and carbon emissions. With climate change increasing every day, it has become imperative to develop new and lasting ways to utilize energy in a more clean and sustainable manner.
And how does Soul Cooking do this, you might ask?
Through the iCourt's Venture Prize program, we have completed 30-plus customer discovery interviews in order to more fully understand the problem and potential viable solutions. Through this experience, we were able to identify the solar cooking industry as a potential option, understanding that current solutions are either inefficient and affordable or costly and ineffective, leading to very little social impact. Our solution aims to combine the best of these models through the development of cost-effective, efficient, and versatile solar cookers. Our design utilizes 3D printing technology with a multi-layered interior component, as well as recycled materials in order to trap heat and further insulate the food at a lower cost. And this is what it looks like.
Furthermore, our industry research showed that many of these solar relief organizations, while doing incredible work, are focused internationally, leaving local populations within the US without the help they need. Our most recent milestones include receiving a $5,000 grant through the National Science Foundation to continue further research and prototype development, being selected as finalists for the United Nations Millennium Fellowship, being accepted into the EPIC Innovators Program, and receiving mentorship from energy industry leaders.
Our initial target markets are the humanitarian relief and homeless organizations in Charlotte. Over 39 nonprofit organizations within the Charlotte metropolitan area are currently working with these populations in order to provide needed food as well as sanitation and clean water sources. However, many still continue to struggle to find ways to empower these individuals themselves in terms of cooking and access to balanced nutrition.
Therefore, we aim to fill this gap by supplying these organizations with technology that can provide them an avenue for clean cooking, in turn allowing them the capability to provide a larger variety of food and nutrition for homeless individuals. We are exploring piloting in the Charlotte metropolitan area in communities such as Tent City and 12th and College Street, partnering with local nonprofit organizations such as Roof Above and the Second Harvest Food Bank to provide the needed solar cookers to be distributed to these individuals.
In the United States, there is a $7 billion market for technologies and services sold to homeless organizations. Looking nationwide, we are looking to expand to other metropolitan areas within the United States, such as Los Angeles, California, Seattle, Washington, and Atlanta, Georgia.
Soul Cooking. Empower, develop, cultivate. Imagine your favorite nonprofits. Imagine the immense impact that they have. Now, imagine a world without them. According to NANO, 30 to over 50% of nonprofits will fail or stall within a few years of starting. Why? Well, nonprofits primarily close or stagnate due to a lack of necessary infrastructure development, investment in things like marketing, technology, data. For 60% of nonprofits, infrastructure spending is an immense financial challenge, and they simply cannot hire employees or expensive consultants to focus on these crucial areas. My company, Volunteer, addresses this problem by providing a multifaceted platform that allows highly skilled college students to complete infrastructural projects for nonprofits, contributing to building lasting and stable organizations. Projects can range from 30-minute calls to devise social media strategy with marketing majors to multi-month website building projects with IT majors. Here's how we work. First, nonprofits register on the platform and are vetted by our team. Students register using their college emails and create a profile. Nonprofits then use our custom AI system to easily create project postings. Then they select ideal candidates, whom they can also interview before selection. After nonprofits and students are matched, they utilize our platform to manage projects, seamlessly collaborating in one place. Thus, Volunteer functions both as a system of skilled volunteer recruitment and volunteer and project management, decreasing the overall burdens on nonprofit employees and college students. Industry and volunteers research indicates that college students, especially upperclassmen, possess the requisite skills to address numerous nonprofit infrastructural needs and want to gain relevant professional experiences. College students are also the Gen Z generation, 77% of whom are extremely interested in community impact. With Volunteer, they can simultaneously make a difference, network, and conveniently build professional experience. We have two customer segments primarily, universities and small to mid-sized nonprofits. We currently operate on a freemium model with nonprofits and universities having access to basic services for free and upgrading for more enhanced functions. We also make money through advertisements. Our initial target market are small to mid-sized universities on the East Coast, as well as small to mid-sized nonprofits on the East Coast. We have also established connections in Fiji and Pakistan with nonprofits that we can later tap into. Our serviceable obtainable market is currently $10 million, and our total addressable market are universities and nonprofits worldwide, and we value this at over $1 trillion. Our competitors are for-profit organization Catch a Fire and nonprofit organizations like Volunteer Match. Catch a Fire only focuses on established professionals as volunteers and does not have a digital platform similar to ours, and also charges nonprofits much more than we do. Volunteer Match does not specifically focus on skill-based volunteering and college students, and also does not have a platform with our advanced features and analytics. With an average skill-based volunteer hour worth $150, we are a unique solution, providing nonprofits with the crucial, affordable support that they need and that they deserve. My name is Samra, and I'm currently a sophomore Levine Scholar at UNCC. I started Volunteer last June. Since then, we have completed the Venture Prize Accelerator program at UNCC, won a $5,000 research grant, conducted 30-plus industry and customer interviews, and have been featured in Charlotte Eno. Speaking with students, universities, nonprofit leaders validated the need for a Volunteer and helped us design our platform and business model. We are confident in its success. I lead a growing team of 3, and we're currently working on developing a beta version of this platform to test at UNCC and USC and with our 6 nonprofit partners. All my life, I've volunteered and interned at nonprofits and have firsthand observed these challenges, especially since I started my own organization last year. Help Volunteer elevate millions of nonprofits and improve billions of lives worldwide.
Thank you, Samra. And again, such an outstanding job done by each of our students. We're extremely proud of you and look forward to this summer's mentorship program. Next, we're going to hear from Brad Fausch, Assistant Director of the Office of Research, Commercialization, and Development. He'll be covering a wide range of topics: how to partner with UNC Charlotte, the resources we have to offer, and the process of research collaboration, and also introducing some licensing opportunities with the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Brad, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brad Fosh. I am the Assistant Director for the Office of Research, Commercialization, and Development here at UNC Charlotte. I've been asked to say a few words a little bit about the technology transfer process at UNC Charlotte. What does it look like to kind of partner or work with the university, and how do we handle things about technology development, IP ownership, and all that sort of stuff. So my office really has 2 inflection points where we get involved in the IP discussion, the technology transfer process with companies or outside parties. I've kind of broken this out into 2 areas. The first one I'm calling kind of pre-funding. So this is before a project starts. When a company wants to work with the university, there's typically a lot of questions around a whole bunch of different things that I'm going to go into, but a big one is always kind of IP ownership and who's going to own any sort of technology or discovery that comes out of that process. Those details are usually worked out in something called a sponsored contract, which is an agreement between the university and the company or the party working with the university. The second part of my talk is going to be on kind of post-funding or post-discovery. So once the university actually has that piece of intellectual property or that patent or whatever that may be, and we want to kind of transfer that out of the university and into society, how does that process work? And so those are typically handled through something called a license agreement or an IP license agreement. And I've got a slide talking about that. So before I kind of jump into my main 2 slides, I would be remiss if I didn't give a quick pitch for kind of the benefits of working, not just with UNC Charlotte, but working with universities in general. UNC Charlotte is a big place. We have a lot of what we call human talent on campus. We have over 30,000 students. In fact, we're now the second largest university student body-wise in North Carolina, certainly the largest university in the kind of Charlotte region. With that comes 1,000 faculty members, most of them with their doctorate degrees. So very, very smart people that we have on campus. They're spread out over about 171 undergraduate programs, 65 master's degrees programs, and we now have 24 PhD programs. So no matter what your kind of research area is, whether it be, say, water filtration technology or blood vessel imaging, we probably have an expert on campus that can kind of help or would at least be interested in looking at that sort of project. Besides the human talent, we have a lot of infrastructure. So I've been at the university for just about 13 years. Just about every year, we've had a new building go up and go live on campus. So we've got kind of new world-class research labs. These include clean rooms, wet labs. We even have a business kind of co-working space now on campus in our Portal building. And Mark Spindler, who's going to be in the kind of breakout chat room with me later, would be happy to speak with anyone that's kind of interested in these sort of working at the university, renting lab space, renting office space, all those sort of questions. So just kind of jumping in to the main topic of my slides, I had mentioned those really two kind of ways my office gets involved in this kind of technology transfer process. The first one is pre-project or pre-funding. So when a company wants to come to the university and work with us, what are some of the kind of issues that we need to talk through and figure out to structure this agreement? A big one is always IP ownership and who's going to own patents and inventions that come out of these collaborative projects. And these are kind of broken up into two different areas. We have patentable inventions, which are typically things like hardware, maybe some really advanced chemical or scientific processes, or even software in some cases. And for patent ownership, the university follows US patent law. We've got North Carolina statutes and policies that we have to follow, as well as university policies. And these all basically say that patent ownership stays with the inventors or flows with the inventors and then ultimately to their employer. So if it's UNC Charlotte personnel that are coming up with a new invention, typically ownership stays with UNC Charlotte for these patentable inventions. If the ideas are created on the company side of things, then the company would own them. And then oftentimes what we have is this kind of joint or co-ownership situation where you have both, say, a company and the university co-owning these patents. On the copyright side of things, that's a little bit easier. So copyrights might also be software. They might be reports, graphics, things that are kind of generated in the course of a research project. The university has a lot more flexibility with those copyrightable type materials, and typically we can just very easily transfer ownership of that to the company. The next kind of area that hits a lot of people, if you're not familiar with working with the university, is that research costs money. So yes, we are a state public university, and we do get a lot of funding from the state of North Carolina, but typically that doesn't cover things like, say, graduate students that are going to be working on these research projects, or material, equipment, and so forth that has to go into these research projects. So research costs money, and typically there's some sort of budget request that goes along with a research project that's being funded on campus. If you're kind of a small business, there are some grants that are available. For example, the SBIR and STTR grants are a great resource. And so oftentimes we partner with small businesses that have been awarded one of these SBIR type or STTR type grants, and then they can use part of that grant money to subcontract to the university and get the money or get the research paid for that way. And the last kind of thing I wanted to point out about working with the university is academic freedoms and publications. So we are a university. We are not a private company. Our primary mission is to teach and educate and graduate students and also publish. And so all of these things are very important for the university. And what that means is that although we can keep company confidential information secret, so we don't have to publish that. But if there is some sort of discovery or big breakthrough that happens during a research project, our professors and our students need to have the rights to be able to publish that. So that's just something to keep in mind when you work with the university versus, say, at a private company, is that universities need to be able to publish their findings. So kind of flipping over now to the post-project side. So this is where either a project has been completed or the university has some sort of technology, intellectual property that could be in the form of patents, kind of sitting on our shelves, and the university is not able and really doesn't have any interest in making or selling any sort of commercial product. So that's where we really have to look to our collaborators and our partners on the business side of things to kind of take these technologies forward and ultimately introduce them into the marketplace. The way that process usually works is through what's called a license agreement. So as I kind of mentioned on the last slide, typically, at least for patents, IP ownership for these patents stays at the university level. But because the university can't make or sell these products, we need to license the rights, the commercial rights to those patents out to, say, a company, for example, that can actually make and sell a product. These license agreements are very flexible, so we can carve them up, for example, by field of use. So you might have, say, a new antibody, and we might license the drug or therapeutic use to one company, and then the diagnostic or testing use to another company. We can carve them up by geographic region. So if someone's only interested in the United States market, we could license to that company. And if a European company just wants rights to the European market, we could license to Europe. And so by doing this licensing practice, we actually have a lot of flexibility on how we can get these technologies out the door. The thing that everyone always wants to talk about is kind of money. So how much does it cost to license these technologies from the university? And I will say this is actually the easiest part of the licensing process. I think people are very comfortable talking about money and licensing and costs. If anyone's ever bought a house or bought a car, those certain benchmarks we can look at. We can look at comparables, all sorts of things to make sure that everyone's getting a fair value. The nice thing at UNC Charlotte is we really don't have any sort of minimums or maximums. We have a lot of flexibility on how we can structure these terms, and ultimately the university wants to see these technologies get out the door and get into the marketplace, and so we can kind of structure that in any way we want, while at the same time we have to make sure that the university gets some sort of fair value for the technology, because oftentimes there's been a lot of investment that has gone into developing these technologies. So in a typical license agreement, there's usually something called an upfront fee. This is typically in the form of cash that has to be paid when you're signing these agreements. At UNC Charlotte, I've seen these anywhere from $500 to $50,000. And so again, a lot of it depends on the technology type, the type of company that's licensing it, and what their goals are, and all those sort of things get factored into the equation. There are kind of back-end fees, typically in the form of royalties and milestones. And so, for example, royalty would be some sort of percentage of future sales of the product. Again, those can range anywhere from less than 1% to over 10%. A lot of it depends on the type of technology that's being licensed. And then other things like patent cost reimbursements. These are things that people don't usually think about when they're licensing a technology, but there could be $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 of patent costs that the university has spent, and the university needs to make sure that those costs get recouped. Oftentimes that is kind of the largest cash payment that our licensee companies are expected to pay. The last thing that isn't really the most interesting thing to talk about, but this is really where we probably spend most of our time negotiating these license agreements, is legal issues. And so unless you're an attorney, you probably wouldn't even really think about these things, but they're really important to make sure everyone's on the same page. For example, enforcement of the patents. Enforcing a patent could cost millions of dollars. And so generally the university doesn't have that kind of budget to go out and spend millions of dollars enforcing patents. And that's something that we would look to our company or business partners to take the lead on. Same thing with liability. If a company is going to take a technology, typically a very early stage technology, and bring it to the marketplace, the university doesn't want any sort of liability for that. If something should go wrong or someone should get hurt using that technology, the university asks that our companies, our licensees, have insurance, that the university is named as a co-insured on the insurance policy, just to make sure that the university has very limited liability in these sort of situations. So again, not really a fun thing to talk about, but these are things that come up time and time again every time that we are trying to negotiate these sort of license agreements. So at UNC Charlotte, we get about 40 or 50 or so new discoveries or technologies a year through my office. Some of those make it through the process where the university will actually invest in patenting them. Of those, I'd say at any given time, we probably have about 100 or so licensable technologies. So these are things where the university is actually, it's gone through a screening process. The university has invested in some IP or patents around them, and we feel like we've got the data and the knowledge to actually, license these sort of technologies. We've got a new portal at UNC Charlotte where you can take a look at a sample of these technologies. We've got about 50 of them up right now, and we're adding more every few weeks. And that's at our website, which is orcd.uncc.edu. When you get there, there should be a link on the left-hand side for available technologies. If you don't see anything that you're kind of interested in, just send us an email, invent@uncc.edu. And I bet that we probably have something kind of on our books that might be interesting to you, whatever it is that you're working on. And if not, we probably have that human talent or that professor on campus that's working in that area. We'd be happy to make an introduction for you. Mark Spindler, who's also going to be in the chat room with me later. He's kind of our industry partnership guru, and he would be happy to answer any questions that you have about kind of partnering with the university, renting space, renting office space, and all the things that go along with that. So, okay, so we are very fortunate to have two of our professors here with us today. We've got Dr. Susan Trammell from our Physics and Optical Science Department, who's going to be talking a little bit about some of the research in her lab and some of the technologies she's developing around blood vessel imaging. And we also have Dr. Jordan Poehler, who's from our chemistry department. He's going to be talking about some of his work in water filtration type technologies. So please stick around and listen to Jordan and Susan.
Hi, my name is Susan Trammell, and I'm a professor of physics and optical science at UNC Charlotte. And I'm going to introduce you to a new imaging modality for applications in medicine that my students and I have been developing in my lab. So enhanced thermal imaging is a thermal infrared imaging technique that uses heat as a contrast agent to detect vascular structures embedded in tissue. It's important to note that enhanced thermal imaging provides images at the video rate, so this is a real-time imaging technique. So a human body at normal temperature emits strongly in the thermal infrared. That is, it looks really bright. But the problem is different tissues in the body are all at about the same temperature, so in a thermal image, there's not very much contrast, and it's very difficult to tell one tissue type from another. And we can see this in this image that I've provided here that's of a cooler and a warmer object. And you can see the cooler object, it's about the same temperature as the background. It kind of fades into the background and you don't get good contrast. The warmer object, on the other hand, jumps right out. It's really easy to see. You have very good contrast. So we're going to try to achieve that kind of contrast in an image of blood vessels embedded in a tissue. So the way our imaging method works is that we actually selectively heat blood vessels embedded in tissue by illuminating the tissue and vessels with a green LED. The blood absorbs light much more strongly than the surrounding water-rich tissue, and this causes the blood to heat up slightly, about 0.5 degrees Celsius, relative to the surrounding tissue. And so this selective heating acts as a contrast agent and makes the vessels stand out in the thermal imaging, just like our warmer object in that picture. We can also apply filters as we acquire the images, and this will enhance the contrast in our images. And so there are several applications for this technique in medicine, and I just wanted to highlight two. One is surgeries that require vascular repair or manipulation. An example of that might be cardiac bypass surgery. And in this 3-panel plot, what you're seeing at the far left is an enhanced thermal image of coronary arteries in a porcine heart. And what you see, the yellow is the blood, the warm blood, which is about a half a degree warmer, flowing through the coronary arteries. And in the right two images, these are our enhanced thermal images with our filters applied. And you can clearly follow that coronary artery across the heart tissue. And then in the far right, you can actually see that we've delineated pretty clearly the edges of that blood vessel. Another potential application for this kind of imaging is to identify margins during tumor resection. So you can see this is an image on the left of a tumor in a murine model, and you can see the tumor mass in this region. And then on the right-hand side is our enhanced thermal image of this same region. And what I'm pointing to there is something called the peritumor region. This is a region that has a lot of blood vessels in it and is routinely used to identify the margin of a tumor mass. And we can see that this appears very clearly in our enhanced thermal image. So our system is very compact and portable. This is just a schematic of what the system looks like. It could be used at the bedside. It can be used in a clinical setting or in an OR. It does provide real-time imaging, so it could be used during a procedure. There's no ionizing radiation, and we don't require any use of any IV contrast agents, which some people are allergic to. Our system provides a spatial resolution comparable, or actually better than ultrasound, at a comparable price point. So that's a quick introduction to enhanced thermal imaging. Thanks for your attention.
Hey, my name is Jordan Poehler. I'm a professor of chemistry at UNC Charlotte. I want to tell you about some of the technology that we've developed here with my students and colleagues, and that we have intellectual property for through UNC Charlotte. Throughout some of my slides, you'll see this little QR code if you want to get to any of the publications or some of the IP that this material is based on. You can just scan that and get to all of that information right away. We're funded by several agencies, most notably the I-Corps and also the EPA for our materials. What we're after here are new materials for water purification, not water filtration. This isn't the third world solution. We're looking at water purification, trying to remove really difficult molecules from drinking water that are very difficult for the water treatment facilities to take care of. So there's a whole host of these emerging and known contaminants in our water. We're drinking them every single day, and some of them have significant health concerns for humans and also the environment. I want to focus a little bit on PFAS, Gen X, some of these materials that you've heard about in the news, very difficult to get rid of from drinking water. And we're also super awesome at getting rid of heavy metals from drinking water and other types of things like personal care products, antibiotics, pesticides, the stuff that you find in water that's coming to your tap into your house at very low levels. So we're talking about purifying water for chronic exposure, not acute exposure. Okay. Just some examples. If you're in the water space at all, then you know about these maximum contamination levels put out by the EPA for known and emerging contaminants, particularly this number here. This is a very small number, 70 parts per trillion for these PFASs. And so we want to try and make sure that people in their homes, in their small businesses, have the ability to drink clean water, right, at a reasonable price. So we have a lot of technologies. Some of these technologies are based on membranes, right? So we started off these projects with single-walled carbon nanotubes, and they work great, but they're very expensive. We've moved on to other types of materials, different types of graphenic materials and cellulosic materials that are much less expensive, and the types of materials that can be commercialized and manufactured at reasonable cost. We also have bed filtration material or grinding materials, starting with a zeolite and functionalizing it to turn it into an anion exchange resin. You see here the dirty water, the clean water. It works great, and we have lots of other data to show you if you take a look at some of our papers. But here are some of the take-home messages, okay? So these are results where we are measuring the percent removal of various contaminants like PFOA, PFOS, different types of organic compounds in water, and then all of these heavy metals. These things are not good for you at all, found in water. And what we did is we started with the maximum contaminant level, right, where they shouldn't be higher than, and we were able to remove them by 99% or 95% for each of those. So really nice results. The most important result, though, and I'm going to tell you where the real value of this technology is its regeneration and its reusability. Okay, so we not only do we have a green synthesis, a sustainable green synthesis, because we use only water and a few reagents and hardly any power through our novel sinochemical processes. But these materials can be regenerated and reused. And what you see here are these little bar graphs. We are basically getting the same result time after time until we just stopped at 37 because the student just ran out of time. She had to graduate, but this will go hundreds of cycles of use. So why is that important? Well, when we think about our value propositions for this particular technology, we think about lower cost of ownership, right? When you go to the store and you spend $45 for a filter that you were going to put into your refrigerator, 6 months later, you throw that thing away. What you're going to do with our technology is you're going to mail it back to us. We're going to regenerate it, and we're going to send it back to you just like a subscription service, right? So lower cost of ownership, lower cost of manufacturing. We don't have a lot of work. We don't have any organic reagents. If you want to manufacture in Europe and other places around the world, you have to think about reusability and low environmental impact. So these are the types of things that we think our technology can really help, and it can be scalable and it can be profitable. And I really thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. And as you heard from both Brad and Rick today, there are a number of technologies available for licensing from the university. And if you go to the Office of Research, Commercialization, and Development's website, you can follow links to overviews of some of those technologies. So for the entrepreneurs on the program today, it's really a great opportunity to get connected to the university, as well as some faculty and talent as well. So please take a look. And with that, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Devin Collins. I'm the Director of Ventureprise. And if you're not familiar with our organization, Ventureprise is the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center at UNC Charlotte. So aside from running this event today, we do a number of other programs for student, faculty, and community entrepreneurs who you will hear from in the next two panels. But in the following panel, you're going to hear about our Ventureprise Launch NSF I-Corps program. And what's unique about this program is that it's a 6-week customer discovery and business model generation opportunity for entrepreneurs and technology leaders and researchers at the university to go out and understand what the customer problems are and how their solution might be able to solve some of those problems. So to date, we've had over 100 university technology teams go through the program. I think we're approaching about 160 at this point. And we've had over 100 community-based entrepreneurs go through this program as well. And we'll be kicking off another cohort this summer that'll start in May. So certainly if what you hear in the next couple panels sounds of interest and you're an entrepreneur, this is a great way to kind of get introduced to the university, as well as for some students and faculty that are on the program today. It's a great opportunity for you as well. So, with that, you're going to hear in our next panel from 3 entrepreneurs that have been both through our National Science Foundation I-Corps site at UNC Charlotte, as well as the very prestigious national program. So in the national program, these 3 teams have done over 100 customer interviews to date. So they've really gone out, talked to customers, and now have begun to understand the business model that they're beginning to form their companies around. So if you're on this presentation and you hear something or you have an experience that you might be able to bring to one of these teams, please consider sticking around for the Q&A session afterwards, as well as reaching out to us, and we can connect you to the faculty and students that you're about to hear from. So with that, I am going to kick it over to Dr. Chengdi Wu, who will tell you a little bit about his company.
Today, I would like to talk about our project, which is an air depulting system that can reduce indoor and outdoor air pollutants and thus potentially improve people's health. So this is a passive system, meaning that it does not require any power to operate. We attended the National I-Corps program with this project in the summer of 2020. Here's our team. Keki and Dante are the entrepreneurial lead, myself as the technical lead, and Thomas from Little Architecture Consulting Firm as our mentor. Just to provide the background for this project, here is a real-time map showing the outdoor air quality. We can see that the particulate matter in the air is quite high in most big cities. It looks particularly high along the West Coast in this image because it is rush hour for the West Coast when I capture this image. The particulate matter in the air can be mostly attributed to fossil fuel combustion, such as exhaust gases from vehicles. This graph shows the result of a study published by the EPA showing the indoor VOC concentrations. As you can see, all buildings contain certain level of indoor VOCs, and some of the VOCs are carcinogenic. The goal of our project is to find a sustainable way to remove these pollutants from the air. These images show a bit more details about the technology of our project. So first, we coat the titanium dioxide on the surface of the buildings. And when UV rays with a wavelength shorter than 385 nanometers hit the building surfaces, the titanium dioxide molecules gets activated and generate hydroxyl radical through photocatalysis using the moisture in the air. The hydroxyl radical are very reactive, and it can react with many chemicals in the air, such as nitrogen oxides or VOCs. This technology can be applied to either interior or exterior of the buildings. When applied to the exterior, the facade can turn the nitrogen oxides in the air into solid nitrate deposits, which can then be washed away with rain. So this can reduce the particulate matter concentration for the outdoor air. When applied to interior, the facade can break down VOCs into carbon dioxide and water molecules. Since the concentration of VOCs are usually very small, under 100 ppb, we can barely notice the increase of a CO2 level increase, in case you are concerned about the CO2 increase due to this conversion. So one pivotal moment in our project was that we started with promoting outdoor applications which can reduce smog and clean the outdoor air. But now we are more focused on indoor applications. As we interview more and more people, it turns out that investors want the most bang out of their buck, obviously. So they would apply the interior to benefit the occupants in the building. We worked on small prototypes to understand the relationship between the air cleaning efficiency and some critical design parameters, such as surface area, UV ray radiation intensity, incident angle, and airflow speed like that. We're now planning to conduct experiments to benchmark the performance of our system. We have an airtight chamber built with various gas sensors and a date logger in it. As the UV light turns on, we can monitor the reduction rate of the harmful gases in the chamber. I hope this can provide a bit of benchmark for the air cleaning efficiency of our system. So when I interview those potential customers later, I can talk about the performance, and they'll have a bit better idea what they are paying for. So for the next step, we're looking for partners that can work with us to perform titanium dioxide coating. Could be national labs or private companies. Also, for the next stage funding, we're planning to apply for SBIR or STTR from the National Science Foundation. So this is a very brief introduction to our project and our future plans. Thank you.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Kyung-hee Kim, an associate professor of architecture and director of the Integrated Design Research Lab at the School of Architecture at the UNC Charlotte. I'm also a founder and CEO of a university spin-off, EcoClosure, that focuses on the development of the microalgae window technology. I've been working on this technology since 2011 because the microalgae, which is a single cell organism living in aquatic environments, has a superior photosynthesis performance that somehow can benefit to reduce building energy consumption and also improve the indoor air quality. So I have been fortunate to receive institutional and the federal research grants to carry out the foundational research as well as the proof of concept, including the venture prize from the UNC Charlotte and also NSF ICOR program and also the NSF, the STTR Phase 1 award. So the application of this technology is that, as you may know, low-performing commercial windows are responsible for, big amount of energy loss and also the pollutant emissions. So we'd like to somehow retrofit the low-performing window with this microalgae window technology as an add-on to the existing window, like office blinds. So this is a snapshot of the constructability of the microalgae systems for the window applications. And again, it can be added onto the existing window from the inside and provide the energy efficiency benefits and improve the indoor air quality. So we carried out the full-scale markup in the scrub architecture, and this is the markup that we tested out, the filling up the microalgae into the system. So the idea of this typology or design is interlocking different layers to grow different species of microalgae that can turn into different bioproducts at the end of its life cycle and allow people to look out. And also when the sun is very harsh during summer, it grows fast to provide the shading for the building such that we can reduce the cooling load. And during the winter time, it can grow slower such that we can maximize the winter sun penetration and reduce the cooling heating load. So the images on the right-hand side give us also visual feedback of the microalgae growth. And also how much the microalgae has been reducing the CO2 that is generated by the occupants. So it is also give us interesting visual feedback loop to the users of its performance. Again, this is around 12 feet wide by 8 foot tall. And then for the next step, what we are trying to do is that, first of all, I am trying to attract more external grants such that we can continue run the proof of concept activities. And specifically during the NSF phase, STTR phase 1 period, we were able to prove the value propositions of the energy efficiency and also the improving indoor air quality from this technology. For the next round of the explorations, we like to figure out the cost-effective manufacturing process such that the unit price is much affordable and attractive to the early adopters, as well as getting the industry-approved energy efficiency certificates authorized by the national lab, such that it endorse those like certificates endorse its performance, energy performance, and the operation of the system as well. So with that, I'd like to end my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
So yes, hi everyone. I'm Roshanek, the entrepreneur lead of team ARC ASC, and our technology is a real-time, non-intrusive AI-powered health monitoring system. this is our team. I'm a PhD student at Infrastructures and Environmental Systems program in the College of Engineering. And Damien Honeycutt is a principal architect and our mentor of our team. Dr. Azarbajani is an associate professor at the School of Architecture. She's the PI of the I-Corps team, and our technical lead, also Dr. Tabhi, is an assistant professor at Electrical and Computer Engineering and also the technical lead of the team. So our technology was developed 2 years ago at Texar Lab at the School of Engineering. It had great potential as it could detect people's behavior in real time and non-intrusively. As you can see, people show on the camera as stick figures, so it's privacy preserving, and it can also be installed at far distance. We wanted to take this technology to the next level and see what important problems we can solve with these capabilities. By the beginning of the pandemic, we had started to think about the symptom detection capabilities that our technology has and how great it would be, especially for seniors. As you can see, by year 2040, we expect the number of citizens aged 65 and older to reach 80 million. And the healthcare system is not yet prepared to take care of this population. We also had the experience of 2 regional I-Corps programs, and our finding in those programs was increasing importance of health measures, especially for the US aging population. So in the national level, we had managed to conduct 120 interviews, and thanks to our great interviews, which these people are a number of them, we had managed to refine our customer segments based on the practical needs of people in the actual market. In the beginning of the program, we had several customer segments based on our assumptions, of course. So we had listed our initial customer segments as hospitals, office buildings, seniors, nursing homes, and insurance companies. Interestingly, although there were problems in the office buildings that could be solved with our technology, that was not much willingness to spend money on it by business owners. So we had to invalidate the segments. Also, we had found out that working with hospital needs strong IT infrastructure, so it was not feasible for us to focus on hospitals as our initial customer segment either, and other invalidated customer segments. But on the other hand, we were detecting lots of problems in the senior care facilities, which were mostly due to staff shortage, and our system could be very helpful as a second eye for the nurses. We had validated senior care facilities as one of our customer segments. In the process of our interviews, we had started to detect patterns, and interesting pattern, as we were talking to doctors, nurses, and researchers about the problems of seniors who were living alone. They were starting to talk about their own parents and their problems. They were mentioning that we are willing to purchase this product for our parents. This made us realize the importance of family members as our main customer segment. So we added family members as one of our main customer segments, and we were finally starting to learn about the product market fit by finding people who are willing to pay for our technology. And finally, our main customer segments are here by answering the question of who would pay for our device instead of who would need our device. We are still in the middle of our journey. We are going to apply for more fundings, explore our product market fit, and continue to talk to more people. Thanks to National I-Corps program, of course, and our helpful team. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Rashadik. And if you weren't aware, Rashadik is not only trying to commercialize the technology that she's been working on as part of her PhD work here at UNC Charlotte, but also in the process of finishing her PhD all at the same time. So very impressive. And if you're looking to connect with her or the other 2 presenters, please feel free to connect during the Q&A session. And if what you've heard today and you're interested in participating in the Ventureprise Launch NSF Core program, you can visit us at entrepreneurship.uncc.edu and fill out an application. And as I mentioned earlier, our next cohort starts in May and will take place from May until about the second week of July. So it's a great opportunity. Usually our summer cohorts are the largest, so please consider applying if you haven't participated yet. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our next presenters. We're excited to hear from 6 companies that were selected into the Venture Launch Summer Accelerator. These 6 companies represent both community-based startups as well as university technology teams. So we have 3 university technology teams and 3 community startups that will be participating with us this summer. Each of the teams selected will receive $2,000 in funding, as well as a entrepreneur residence that will work with them over the course of the 3-month accelerator program. And this is our 3rd year of the program. So if you join us for the Q&A session to follow, you'll also hear from one of our past participants as they discuss how the program worked for them, where they are now, and try to help some of the companies that you've heard from today. And please, if you hear something that these companies are working on and you can offer some help, please try to connect in with them. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our next presenter, which is Penny Campbell of Seniors in Transition.
Hi, everyone. My name is Penny Campbell, and I am the founder of Seniors in Transition, or SIT. What is Seniors in Transition? I'm glad that you asked. Seniors in Transition is a mobile app that's designed to reduce the phone time for nurses and family members of patients in the memory care units of long-term care facilities by providing them with a quick update on the patient's mental and physical health. It will also provide users with information about prescriptions, such as the name, the purpose, and common side effects. So what is the problem that we're trying to solve? During my customer discovery, I found that there were 2 main issues or complaints, which were communication and medicine. So with communication, there is a communication gap between skilled caregivers, such as nurses, and non-skilled caregivers, such as family members or friends of the patients in the long-term care facilities. So the skilled caregivers or the nurses said that they found that they would love to give information about the family member's loved one, but they just didn't have the time because they're understaffed. And the family members' complaints were that when they wanted information about their loved one, either they were put on hold, they had to call and leave a message, or depending on the size of the long-term care facility, they got the runaround for the nurses unit. The second problem was medicine. Many of the patients suffer from illnesses that were caused to be side effects from the different types of medicine that they were prescribed. So they felt that a little more literacy around the medicine would be helpful. So how will Seniors in Transition aid with this solution? For communication, we will have an in-app chat feature, which will have a smiley face feature. So if grandmother is doing well, the nurse would just quickly click on the smiley face. And so the family member will know, okay, grandma's doing well, and we won't have to call, which reduces the call time for both parties. But if she's not feeling well or having a bad day, they can also click on that smiley face as well and type in or speak into the text box for the chat feature to let them know. And then that way they can decide, do I need to just text you back, or does this require a phone call? And for medicine, it was suggested that to take a photograph of each type of pill that the patient is prescribed. The app would store the photograph and give information, as I stated before, such as the name of the pill, the color, because some people identify their pills by color, the purpose of the pill, and the 3 most common side effects. So what are my current needs and what will I be concentrating on this summer? First will be becoming HIPAA compliant, then to modify my MVP to meet the customer's needs, then work with partnership or establish a partnership and obtain customers, which in turn would give us a pilot study so I could see which things are effective, which things are non-effective, and gather some metrics. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to working with you this summer.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ash. I'm a software engineer. I specialize in full stack mobile and web app development. Today, I'm presenting to you Bite Savvy, a mission to fight food waste and to help local restaurants and bakeries. Bite Savvy is an online surplus food marketplace that connects restaurants and bakeries with unsold food with consumers looking to rescue them at steep discounts. We all know food waste is a problem, but when we look at the numbers, reveal a story that it's a much bigger and shocking problem. 1/3 of all food produced in the US is wasted, and this estimates to $218 billion, and 40% of all this food waste comes directly from retailers like restaurants, bakeries, and grocery stores. On the other hand, the same retailers, these restaurants and bakeries have been struggling over the last year because of the COVID pandemic. Revenue continues to be down, and the cost of acquiring new customers is up. Food delivery and online ordering apps charge up to 40% in fees and commissions per order. So our solution to this problem is a surplus food marketplace that connects these retailers with delicious unsold food with hungry app users looking to rescue them at discounts. So perfectly good food, instead of being tossed out, can be rerouted to consumers that'll rescue them at discounts. So how the product works is retailers list surplus food for sale on the Bite Savvy app. App users in the area get notified, and they can browse through deals on the app and place an order. And the user goes to the store at the specified pickup time and picks up a mystery bag. A mystery bag is just, so if there's a bakery posting a deal, so you don't know what you're getting, so it adds to the fun element, surprise and fun, and it turns it into a food adventure. Target market. So on one side, we have retailers with unsold surplus food, bakeries that can predict how much to bake per day, so baked goods, and restaurants with longer menus and prepared food. And on the buyer side, we have young professionals and college students. So how is this helping both sides? Sellers use our platform and get paid to capture new customers. For buyers, it's a food adventure with great discounts, and all this while helping the planet. So the next steps for Bite Savvy. So I recently went through the Ventureprise Idea Launch Program, and in Ventureprise 2.0, this is what I'm looking to do. I want to run a pilot program with 10 restaurants in a 5-mile radius and about 250 users. Maybe start this with a Facebook app group or a minimal MVP, and use these learnings to improve the process and technology and improve upon the MVP, and run a marketing campaign to acquire at least 30 restaurant partners and 750 app users pre-launch. And we're looking to launch this by the end of August this year. And thank you very much. If you or anyone you know is looking to join the team and you love the idea, please reach out to me. Here's my email on the screen.
Hey everyone, my name is Adonis Abdullah. I am a graduating senior here at UNC Charlotte and also a rising master's student, master's in data science and business analytics. And I am also the co-founder and CEO of Hot Route Analytics, a sports analytics firm. All right, so after completing customer discovery interviews with almost 70 executives, coaches, and players from the NBA, NCAA, MLB, and high school ranks, we found that this is kind of the sports business model. And similar to any industry, it all begins with big data. And really what coaches are wanting to do with this big data is to use this information to help them devise the perfect game plan or strategy to help them win more games, to ultimately help them earn more revenue. And this is often implemented by just the big schools. If you shift over to the right, this graph, most schools can't afford to obtain this data. And so this modern business plan doesn't work for them. The large D1s can spend $9 million a year, but everyone else can spend pennies comparatively. And so this problem is that big data and this business model is unaffordable and unobtainable to most colleges and semi-professional teams. And it's so expensive because the current sports analytics companies are using these third-party resources because they want to give coaches, the entire Pandora's box at the speed of light. And coaches really just want the information they need when they need it so they can devise the game plans that they for the next game coming up. And ultimately, this is causing teams to disband across the country as a result of not earning enough revenue. And so our solution to this is offering predictive analytics at a low cost. We want to offer predictive analytics because it cuts out all that middle information that coaches really don't care too much about from what we've learned during our discovery process. And we're just giving them those actionable results from the data. And currently we're doing this with a mobile app, with our Next Pitch mobile app, which is designed to predict the next pitch in real time, using the momentum of the game to predict the pitch before it comes. And we're able to do this at a low price because we're not focusing on giving coaches everything that's in this treasure chest of data. And we're not trying to do it the quickest. It's very contextually aware. We want to just provide them with what they want right before their game so then they can strategize for it. And that prevents us from having to spend money on expensive servers or cloud computing or getting cameras set up in arenas. We can keep our costs really low and then we pass that on to our customers. So our market, it is about a $2.7 billion market. This is the total spend of all colleges and universities in America. And the market that we're focusing on is about $1.9 billion. This past year, we've had some really cool traction. We've been able to work with colleges ranging from North Carolina down to Texas. And we've done 4 pilot programs so far with our app, although we had interest from around 80 teams within our 6-week marketing campaign that we ran. And so looking forward, we really want to capture more of this market because it is so expansive. And so looking ahead into this summer, we really do want to gain customer feedback from our current customers. We want to define a repeatable sales strategy for our app, conduct 30 to 40 customer discovery interviews, run some pilot partnerships with other universities to see how we can go beyond baseball. And finally, we want to add 1 to 2 advisory board members. And we want to do all these things, again, to just really capture more of that market and just continue to expanding what we're doing. And so thank you all for listening.
Right, okay, great, everyone. I'm Victor Chen. I'm an associate professor of management at the Bell College of Business and also affiliate faculty in org science and the School of Data Science at UNC Charlotte. I'm the founder of a new product called AMI, standing for Expertise Management and Integration for Enterprise. I'm also the founder of GoPeaks Initiative. So the problem I'm trying to solve through my venture is based on the observation that current business system is not working well for people and society. It is not because the managers are not responsible or not ethical, not all that. It's because we don't have many good tools for decision makers to be able to foresee the consequences that decisions are making on different people and stakeholders and society. And the reason for that is not because nobody's doing good research, and it's the opposite. We have tons of research. The research and the knowledge is buried in fragmented and inaccessible sources. And it's not accumulating into good tools. So my hypothesis is, what if we can automate the reading and the synthesis of all the research insights into instant tools for decision making? So over the years, I and my colleagues in business, in data science, in computer science, have developed several prototypes to do this integration automatically. We've built natural language processing models, we've built user interfaces, and we've built graphic simulations for knowledge graphs. And eventually we want to synthesize all those advancements into a shared brain. So the brain is like a system that can detect and integrate causal insights from fragmented local knowledge systems, both academic research and also the businesses themselves, into a unified causal knowledge graph to inform causal modeling for explainable AI and machine learning, and eventually to prescribe responsible interventions for the business decision makers. With that hypothesis, we created a team early this year called AMI, standing for Expertise Management and Integration for Enterprise. And we participated in the National I-Corp, National Science Foundation I-Corp program. In this program, we interviewed 112 major potential customers and partners representing almost all the top leaders in the enterprise performance space, as well as the consultants, the influencers, and end users. We have confirmed our hypothesis that most decision makers in enterprise management desire to have causal insights and desire to have such insights to be integrated graphically and intuitively into decision tools. So to end my presentation with the slogan of my initiatives, that is, we strive for the whole truth in a fragmented world by building a shared brain for people and society.
Hi, I'm Kim Harklerode, and I'm the founder of No Mess SPF. We've got your back. But first, a little bit about me. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, and I have been in the consumer packaged goods industry for my career in marketing all the way to strategy. I grew up playing outside in outdoor sports, and the dermatologist became an annual appointment. I've had 20 plus biopsies since the age of 9. And it wasn't until my father, who's pictured here, developed melanoma that I started to dig into the problem and ultimately have the goal of making a difference and advocating for future prevention for hopefully my nephew, who's pictured here. The problem is ineffective sunscreen application practices that are time-consuming, inconvenient, and inconsistent. Applying sunscreen takes time. It's really easy to miss a spot. And there's, opportunity for people to still enjoy being outside and not have to hide from it, like the picture in the middle. I was paired with Brian Deniston at the SPTDC last January, and he helped me take my idea and run with it. And ultimately, I was able to lean on a patent holding engineer, a well-established financial advisor, and countless others in the Charlotte ecosystem who have dedicated their time, resources, and support to help me with this venture. And now the solution, No Mess SPF. It's an automatic sunscreen applicator covering exposed areas on you and your family's bodies to avoid sunburn in under 5 seconds. This is a future rendering, but the intent is for it to be at outdoor venues as shown, and I've already received some positive feedback from potential consumers. So during the customer discovery, I found a couple of key things. I was able to get over 300 surveys from consumers. And in addition to in-person tests with my minimum viable product that my engineer developed last year. There were a few key things that I found during customer discovery. One being females with kids under 8 were most interested in the solution because it had an easier component and something more simple for them to be able to protect their family. In addition to single female adults, because they don't have to have someone help them get their back. And one of the upgrades that they requested was that it be height adjustable, which I've been able to do with my 2021 minimum viable product shown here on the right, which also adds an improved convenience. The top 3 places that consumers expected to find a solution like this were pools, water parks, and public outdoor recreation. Therefore, my concentration during the accelerator will be to get in contact with these venues starting in North and South Carolina. My ask is help broadening my pilot tests with potential clients via warm introductions, and ultimately collaborate on a final design and have partnerships by the beginning of next year in order to make a positive impact. Thank you for listening, and remember, we've got your back.
Hello, everyone. We are Teleria Technologies, and we're looking forward to stepping into a new era of digital healthcare. So I am Pedro Regalado, the founder and CEO of Teleria Technologies, and we also have our technical advisors, Dr. Chen Chen and Dr. Tao Han, and our CFO, Scott Christensen. So how did we get here? We first started by researching different mixed reality technologies and solutions. We combined this with different edge computing researchers to see how we can be as low cost as possible, as well as different wireless systems, as that's where our society is heading as well. But we all know that an idea is only an idea until we put a step forward. So we applied to the NSF Venture Fi's regional I-Course program, and we got accepted. Through this program, we were able to do over 30 plus interviews, interviewing different people in healthcare, manufacturing, sports, and education sectors to see where mixed reality could best put its foot forward. We were also able to do a business model canvas focusing on value propositions as well as customer segments to see what Teleria could offer and who our audience was. Then after this program, we took a step forward and also applied to NSF Enterprise National I-Course program. And through a rigorous interview process, we were also selected. And through this program, we were able to achieve over 100 plus interviews, now focusing specifically on healthcare sector to see where our niche was for our mixed reality solution. So some of the disadvantages in healthcare that we found through our interviews were that there were inefficient garment wearing tactics, such as especially in the ICU units, where nurses are going in, putting in their garments, taking care of patients, coming back out, taking their garments off and taking notes, and then going back in, etc. And it becomes a repetitive and inefficient task. We also found redundant note-taking where nurses are just charting all day long or just taking notes. And even if the desktop or computer is in the same room as the patient, sometimes the nurse is with their back to the patient, which decreases customer satisfaction and makes the patient feel unheard. Finally, there were burnouts. There's an average of 13 hours that nurses work per shift. And so this creates a lot of stress in their work when they're doing different things. So if you're still unconvinced, why Teleria? We want to change the current digital healthcare. We want to remove the screen barrier. We don't want there to be phones, desktops, or computers anymore. We want everything to be right in front of your eyes. We focus on providing extreme safety by validating patient information with our facial recognition algorithms and doing verifying patient medication to see if it's correct. We save nurses a lot of redundancy in note keeping, and we improve customer satisfaction. We boost productivity and prevent different burnouts, as burnouts, we all know, can be a safety hazard as well when doing things and can cause more damage in the medical field. Finally, we allowed global collaboration so that with one button away, I can contact any other nurse or doctor in the world. And this is beneficial even post-pandemic. So what are our current needs today? We want to become OSHA compliant so that we can work with different clinics and hospitals. We want to partner for different key testing and parameters. We want to revise our cost structure of expenses so not only we can survive, but we can also thrive in our company. We want to shift from the prototype and minimum viable product to a full production phase. And we want to get key funding for marketing and sales. So through the Ventureprise Launch 2.0, we want to revise and update our cost structure, our key partners and resources, and get our revenue streams correct. We want to boost our marketing efforts. We want to take advantage of the mentorship, do pilot studies with different clinics and hospitals. And finally, we want to conduct surveys to make sure that not only the nurse is content, but also the patient as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Pedro. Well, this concludes our formal presentations today. And I want to first thank all of our presenters. And I hope everybody enjoyed and were able to connect with or eventually connect with some of the companies and technologies you heard from today. Certainly want to thank our sponsors, both the North Carolina Biotechnology Center, NC IDEA Foundation, National Science Foundation, and UNC Charlotte's Research and Economic Development for supporting today's events and supporting these innovators and entrepreneurs as they go on to work on their ventures this coming summer. And I think, as Rick mentioned earlier, this is the 20th anniversary of the Charlotte Venture Challenge. It started first as 5 ventures and eventually became the Charlotte Venture Challenge. And we count well over 500 companies as alumni of the event. So we have a large contingent, and certainly in any traditional year, we would be together celebrating with our large alumni group as well as other individuals that have supported us over the years. So hopefully, fingers crossed, for the 21st Charlotte Venture Challenge in the 21st century, we will be able to get together again and celebrate. So we'll find a reason. And as you see behind me, that might take place in the Portal building on the UNC Charlotte campus, which houses our office as well as a number of other startups. Or what's not in the picture right now is the new Marriott Convention Center and Hotel, which we're excited to one day, hopefully soon, host some events in. So with fingers crossed, and next year we'll be holding our event maybe in that hotel. So please join us for that. So here you can see our website. As I mentioned earlier, there's some opportunities if you're interested in participating this summer, or otherwise you can follow us on our various social media channels. I want to, Laura and I want to thank all the help that we were given to put this together, especially our 2 interns, Leanne and Milena, who, if anybody's looking, any of the businesses are looking to hire, we've got some great interns we can point you to that did a lot of work for us over this year, all virtually, but they made it all happen. So special thanks to them. And then I'll turn it over to Laura in just a little bit. But as we move towards the Q&A session, you'll be able to meet with a couple of hear from a couple of other individuals that are part of UNC Charlotte's Research and Economic Development Group. So Robin McIntyre with the Small Business Technology Development Center will be leading one of our panels, as well as Mark Spindler with the Office of Industry and Government Partnerships. And a couple of our former students, part of our former 49er Foundry, will be leading our student Q&A session and panel. So certainly, you can choose, you can jump around, but it's a great opportunity to kind of connect with live with the folks that you heard from in the presentations earlier. So hopefully you'll join us. And with that, we'll turn it back over to Laura to kind of lead you into how to follow into our next section.
Great.
Laura.
Thank you so much, Devin. Appreciate it. Thank you to everyone that helped and participated today. Great presentations, a lot of innovation in our community, on campus. So looking forward to having everybody participate in the Q&A sessions. So if you're on our website right now, look right below the live stream, and there's 4 buttons. 1 button for each panel. So the Student Entrepreneur Showcase is going to highlight all 6 teams that won the 49er Impact that you saw present. In the 2.0 Summer Accelerator Showcase, that's going to be the 6 teams that are participating in our program this summer as well. And then we have the I-Core panel, which are the 3 teams from the College of Arts and Architecture. It's going to highlight all 6. And then we have the Tech Transfer panel, which is going to give you more insight into licensing opportunities, partnership opportunities. And then, as Devin mentioned, we have some great hosts actually in these rooms as well. So please join. So all you have to do is just click the buttons, again, right below on our website. If you have any issues, there's always me to email. You can always do that, but give us a few seconds. There might be a few people trying to get in at the same time, but give us a few seconds to do that. But we look forward to seeing you in one or all of the rooms. Again, thank you all for participating and watching today, and we'll see everybody soon.